How important A is your guitar being in tune, and B is learning to tune your own guitar. Very. Sometimes tuning can get overlooked. I've seen it from guitar students. I've also seen it at gigs from some performers. It's never enjoyable to listen to, and it can happen for a variety of reasons. Lack of awareness. Sometimes beginners don't realise their guitar needs tuning. Underdeveloped ear skills. Sometimes people can't hear that it needs tuning. Lack of care. Not being bothered. Some people don't think it's important. They're just not bothered. Lack of attention. Some people are so focused on playing that they don't prioritise being in tune. No tuner. Some people don't have a tuner. They wait for other people to do it. They don't want to buy a tuner. I've had this experience in guitar lessons a lot. Lack of confidence. Some people don't feel like they're good enough to do it, so they don't have a go and they wait for other people to do it for them. Tuning is one of the most basic skills and practices to get into for guitarists at all levels. Don't wait for somebody else to tell you that your guitar's out of tune. Which brings me on to today's lesson, how to tune your guitar. 3 main kinds of tuners I'll be walking you through today. Apps, there are a range of awesome free guitar tuning apps available. Today I'm using the Fender app. Stomp boxes, foot pedals, mine's a TU2. Boss and I want TU3. This is an awesome, accurate foot tuner. And the clip-on tuners, this is a TC Poly Tune. I have a 6-string electroacoustic guitar tuned to standard tuning, which is what you're going to get most of the time when you're starting to learn guitar. So the tuning will be E for the 6th string, or low E, then we have an A, then we have a D, then we have a G, then a B, and then a high E. I'll show you how to tune to this tuning using each of these apps. First, I'm going to put the clip-on tuner onto the headstock of the guitar here. So we take this clip-on tuner and clip it onto the headstock. I'm facing mine towards you today so that you can see what's going on. These tuners work on the same principles. We play one single string and the tuner tells us whether that's in tune, whether it's too low in pitch, or flat, or whether it's too high in pitch or sharp, and tells us which way to go to put the string in tune. So let's look at string number 6, which is the low E string, right on the top here. I know my guitar's in tune, so what I'm going to do is just knock a couple of strings out of tune. Starting with the low E, or string number 6, right on the top, I'm focusing on the clip-on tuner. Play that string and let it ring out. Make sure you're only catching one single string. That screen is telling me that this is in the ballpark of a D, but we need it to be an E. Actually, there's a dot after it. So in this tuner's language, the dot means sharp. So I need this pitch of the string to go higher because E comes after D sharp. So we need to find the right tuning peg, which is this one here, and to make it go higher in pitch, I need to turn it anti-clockwise. So I'm going to play it so I can hear it and turn it anti-clockwise. So you see the screen now, it's coming into the realm of an E, but it's not quite there yet. Keep going, we're still a little bit too low. There we are, almost there. Now we are absolutely playing an E. We're in tune. The next string that we go down to is the A. That's in tune. The 3rd string down is string number 4, that's a D. Now I know that's cringily out of tune. That's actually playing a D sharp again, but now we're on a D. So in order to make a D sharp a D, we need to go down, we need to go lower in pitch. So finding the right tuning peg and picking the D string, we need to bring this clockwise. So as you can hear it going down, a little bit lower, that red dot's moving towards the D now. There we go. There we are, right on the D. Check in the next 3 strings. We have the G, we have the B, and then we have the high E. So they are now all in tune. That gives you an overview of how to use your clip-on tuner. They're all roughly the same. So let's look at these other 2 tuners now behind me. As I mentioned before, this is the Fender app. I like the clean visuals on this one. I'm going to take a couple of my other strings out of tune, so we've got something to do. Starting with the low E string again, number 6. That's in tune. The tuner tells us, hold there, you're in tune, and plays a little sound. Down to the A string. 2 flat, tune up. Now it's in tune. I'm going to jump down to the strings that I've detuned before, so that's the G string. 2 sharp, tune down. The little green circle tells us it's nearly in tune, but it's a little bit sharp, so we need to bring it down. So on the bottom tuning pegs, the one the furthest away, I have to turn this anti-clockwise to make it lower or flatter. Hold there, you're in tune. If there's going to be a string that's tricky on your guitar, it tends to be a G string. They often will be little tinkers. The next one I detuned was a B string, number 2. Flat. 2 flat, tune up. This yellow circle, it's way out. This side, it's too low. We need to turn it clockwise to make it go higher. There we go. And just to double check, the high E. There we go. Moving on to the Stompbox tuner, my favourite. This one has the lights and the arrows, so this is telling me this is too low, it's too flat. So we need to get it to the green light in the middle and the 2 arrows together. Moving on to the A. 2 flat again. D. Perfectly in tune. G is 2 flat again. So on the bottom tuning peg, clockwise, little tiny turns. Perfect. Oof, what's going on there? B string, clockwise again because we're 2 flat. And then high E. There we go, in tune. This works by putting it on the floor and activate it by tapping your foot on this. You have to have a source of power, either a battery or a power pack, and you have to be able to plug your guitar in. So it needs to be electroacoustic or an electric guitar. A few pros and cons. The apps pick up by using the microphone on your tablet or your phone. And this can sometimes be interfered with by external noise in the vicinity. So if I'm trying to tune my guitar here, it's trying to pick that up, but if you notice now I'm talking next to it, it can't pick up so well. So anything like sound, music, dogs barking, people chatting, you're gonna have an issue. So they're useful, but also not always reliable. Clip-on tuners are excellent. They are small, lightweight. There's a spectrum of prices. Some people don't like how they look aesthetically on the end of the headstock, but you can tune your guitar and take it off. These are really transportable. So generally, if you get a decent one, they're very reliable and don't take up much room. Different to the app, they pick up using vibrations from the guitar, which means there's no issue with interference from any other sound. You can have anything else going on in the room and this will not cause a problem for this tuner. These are a little bit flimsy sometimes, so the physical components of them can break. I love this Polytune one because it's got a metal clip, so it's going to last a decent amount of time. Stomp boxes have always been my go-tos. They're ultra reliable if you get a decent one. You do need to be able to plug into them though. So you need an electric guitar or you need an electroacoustic. If you do have a purely acoustic but you have a pickup that plugs in, then you could use them too. These don't have any problems with interference. You don't have to put them on your guitar. They're really transportable. This is really quite old now and it's made from metal casing and they can take a real beating, so they last a long time. Some tips for tuning. Now this is a rite of passage really, and it may seem dead obvious, but make sure you follow your string to the correct tuning peg. Follow the string down, find the right tuning peg, because if you spend your time as a beginner tuning a string and then all of a sudden you accidentally detune it because your next string that you tune in, you've picked the wrong tuning peg, it's quite frustrating. Learn your string names. Even if you think the tuner is going to tell you, which in most cases it will, if you have a string that is so out of tune, like maybe your E string is so detuned that it's playing a D string or lower, the tuner is going to pick that up as a D. So if you spend time tuning that to a D, but actually it should be an E, you're gonna have problems. So learn the string names and cross-reference them with your tuner as you tune. Don't make the mistake of thinking that because you haven't played your guitar or because you haven't seen it get knocked around, that it's going to be still in tune the next time you pick it up. Get into the habit of tuning your guitar when you pick it up, or at least checking it. All sorts of other factors come into play with the guitar's tuning, whether it's the temperature, whether it's newish strings are stretching a little bit more than they should be, maybe old strings keep going out of tune, maybe your tuning pegs aren't very good and they're not keeping the string in tune, maybe you've got a little brother or sister or child walking around who likes to twist things. You never know. Just check. Make sure your tuner's on the right setting, which is generally G, and it could sometimes be C. G is for guitar. Tuners a lot of the time will tune other stringed instruments too. So they'll have a setting for ukulele, violin, bass guitar, U, V, B, for example. So double check that your guitar tuner is on the guitar setting if there are other options. A lot of tuners will have a C setting, which is chromatic. If your tuner has a chromatic setting, this is okay. You can use chromatic setting, but you need to double check the strings as you're tuning them. Learn your string names, E, A, D, G, B, E, because the chromatic setting can tune all the sharps and the flats as well. So you can get into a real pickle with this if you don't exactly know your string names. Numbers. If your tuner has 440Hz written on it, which means 440 Hertz, that is a concert pitch tuning. If that is a different number, if you accidentally change that to a different number, even if you tune your strings to E, A, D, G, B, E, they still won't be in tune because you've changed the parameters. Go slow until you can gauge how much you need to turn a tuning peg in which direction. You need to just do it in increments, otherwise you will end up bouncing from one side to the other side of the correct tuning and it will drive you a bit mad. It takes ages, so just incrementally, if you need to go up, go higher, go sharper, then turn it little bit at the same time as playing the string so you can hear it moving and the tuner can hear it and respond accordingly. Just go slow until you know your guitar well enough to understand that that much of a turn equals a certain amount of pitch change. If you have just put new strings on, or you have new strings on your guitar, it's even more important to go slow. Strings will go out of tune when they're brand new. They go out of tune very quickly and a lot until they're stretched in properly, at which point they will then stay majority static. So when they're new, go slow, because if you turn, the chances are you can snap a string. So just take it easy. Learn the sound of a string going up in pitch sharper, so that when you hear it, when you're turning the tuning peg, you can hear it going up, and the opposite way you can hear it going down. So you can hear a string getting lower in pitch or flatter as you turn it the opposite direction. It's great ear tuning. It'll put you right in connection with your guitar, and it'll make tuning so much easier, quicker. In this next lesson, I show you how to read tab. I will see you next time.